Leo, a great future is in store for this offspring of the celestial Virgin. Listen to the wonderful prophecy of Isaiah. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. Humanity is to rise to a wonderful spiritual height, and this is symbolized by the sun's processional passage through the royal sign Leo, pictorially represented by the king of beasts, the lion. This is an apt allusion to the king of creation, who will then embody the three great virtues of the master man: strength, wisdom, and beauty. It is wonderful to trace the various phases of the religions given to the great Aryo-Semitic race from the time they were called out in the latter third of the Atlantean epoch to the end of the Aquarian age, when a new race will have been definitely born. This aspect of the zodiac will form the subject of the following pages. It will shed light on many of the most obscure passages of the Bible, as only study of this cosmic science can. When we consider the zodiac in its religious as well as its evolutionary aspects, by means of the 6 pairs of opposite signs into which the 12 may be divided, we also commence with Cancer and Capricorn, for the reason given in the previous article, namely, that these are the solstitial points where the sun reaches its highest and lowest declination. Considered in this manner, we find that there are 2 sets of 3 pairs of signs, the first being Cancer and Capricorn, Gemini and Sagittarius, Taurus and Scorpio. In these pairs of signs we may read the history of human evolution and religion, in the early, the middle, and the latter third of the Atlantean epoch. In the other 3 pairs of signs, Aries and Libra, Pisces and Virgo, Aquarius and Leo, we find the key to man's development during the Aryan epoch. This is also divisible into 3 distinct periods, namely the Aryan age, from Moses to Christ, which comes under Aries Libra, the Piscean age, which takes in the last 2,000 years under Pisces Virgo Catholicism, and the 2,000 years which are ahead of us, called the Aquarian age, where the signs Aquarius and Leo will be illuminated and vivified by the solar procession for the upliftment of the Son of Man, Aquarius, by the Christ within, the Lion of Judah, Leo, to the estate of Superman. It must not be thought, however, that the Atlantean epoch only lasted while the sun by precession went through Cancer, Gemini, and Taurus, a period of only 6,000 and a few hundred years. Far from it. But there are spirals within spirals, and recapitulation takes place in the epochs and races, so that we may know what is the general destiny by looking at the sun's passage through these signs, and therewith taking this import and symbolism into consideration. It may also be said that the further we advance, the smaller do the spirals become, the shorter the time in which a given improvement is made, because of the proficiency we attained in former ages, and therefore it is extremely probable that this present is the last lap, that the coming Aquarian age is the final preparatory school day which will fit us for the new age, the 6th epoch, and that this will begin when the sun by precession enters Capricorn. This, of course, would mean that the second advent must take place just before that time, and though it seems to us that so many signs point that way, still it is a mere surmise and may not have any truth in it at all. Thousands of people have been misled during all the ages that we know of to think that Christ would soon be here. It is, however, better that we are looking forward to it than if we should say with some that it will never take place. In that case, the great day would find us unprepared, and we should find ourselves among the stragglers who are unfit to attend the wedding feast of the higher self to the lower, because lacking the soul body, the wedding garment, necessary to enfold them. Cancer Capricorn. The sun's passage by precession through the sphere of Cancer with its opposite sign Capricorn designates the early third of the Atlantean period, which was intensely watery as the whole earth was covered by a dense drenching fog. The Nibelung, or children of the mist, lived then in the basins of the earth. Cancer was not then represented by the same symbol as today. In ancient times, it was pictorially figured as a beetle or scarab. This was the signature of the soul, for then mankind was much less body than soul. The sign Cancer is watery in its nature, and the fish part of Capricorn, the opposite sign, also helped to symbolize this state of life underwater when the sun went through the watery sign Cancer by precession. The moon, the planet of fecundation, points mystically to this period of germination, when mankind first commenced to exercise the creative function at the dictates of desire inculcated by the Lucifer spirits. Thus mankind opened the gate of physical life through Cancer, and strayed into the terrestrial sphere, but opposite stood Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn, ready to slay them with his scythe, and usher them through the gate of death, back into the spiritual realms, where they are at home. Capricorn was the opposite of Cancer, and embodied the ideal that as the goat climbs the mountains, so man must leave the basins of Atlantis, and come up from the mist. Gemini Sagittarius, ed. Our condition during the middle third of the Atlantean epoch is illustrated in the sun's passage through the sign Gemini, the twins, which aptly represent infant humanity. During this age, the division of soul from soul by the veil of flesh, which we call the body, became more noticeable, for the atmosphere had already cleared to a considerable extent, and the faculties of the spirit had become more focused in its physical instrument. With this delusion of the personal self, there came at once the idea of me and thee, mine and thine. Our individual interests commenced to clash with those of others, so that a tragedy such as that recorded between Cain and Abel became possible. Nor was the shedding of blood confined to human beings, for we learn from the Bible that Nimrod was a mighty hunter. This savage ideal was expressed in the celestial centaur, Sagittarius, with his bow and arrow. But both of these pairs of opposites, Cancer Capricorn and Gemini Sagittarius, may be considered prehistoric hieroglyphics of a development accomplished in sidereal years, long past, though nonetheless important on that account. Our own times, with the development prescribed for them, are symbolically represented in the two pairs of signs within the fixed cross, the bull, the lion, the serpent, and the man. For that reason, the two pairs of opposites comprising the fixed signs, Taurus Scorpio and Leo Aquarius, are mentioned in the Bible, and we shall find that our modern systems of religion are full of allusions to the three pairs of opposites, Aquarius Leo, and the two adjacent pairs of signs, Aries Libra and Pisces Virgo. These three pairs of opposites are, as already stated, emblematic of the development in the entire Aryan epoch. In the early third of this epoch, the sun by precession went through the sign Aries. The middle third of it finds the sun in Pisces by precession, and during the last third the sun will go through the sign Aquarius. Then the solstitial point Capricorn will see the inauguration of a new cycle or age. The spiritual preparation for this development commenced about 13,000 BC, when the sun by precession was in the sign Libra, the balance, the last time. Different phases of this germinal impregnation of people then living were carried on during the precessional travel of the sun through Virgo, Leo, and culminated in Cancer about 8,000 BC, when the last of Atlantis was destroyed by water, substantially as related by the Egyptian priests to Plato. We shall see presently how the germinal ideals given to humanity in those far bygone days have grown and flowered into factors of human development and spiritual standards of the greatest importance.